Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, and I'd say most of the time I have a witty intro for the podcast, but this week I am deserted, devoid of inspiration. So, Brad, have you done anything beery this week?
Well, it's funny you say that, Johnny, because I haven't done anything beery this week, but I got pretty close because I bought a Tesco meal deal the other day, and do you know what? They now, you can get, as part of a Tesco meal deal, 2 alcohol-free beers. Lucky Saint and, well, I don't know if I can call Corona a beer, but yeah, you can get a Corona as well.
A maize-based alcoholic green beverage. Non-alcoholic grain beverage, yeah. Yeah,
maize-based non-alcoholic beer-like beverage. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Lucky Saint in Tesco, in my mum's local Tesco's. I was going to get one. I was pretty hungry. And then I decided, actually, do you know what I want is an iced coffee. Everyone knows I like an iced coffee, Johnny. So I got a gigantic iced coffee instead. But I did sit back for a moment and I thought, wow, Lucky Saint beer, that's nice beer. Part of a Tesco meal deal, £3.75 Tesco meal deal. I don't know how much a Lucky Saint beer costs if you were just to buy the beer on its own.
It's about a quid probably in Sanos.
Is it about a quid? Okay,
yeah,
so
it's pretty cheap.
All right, so iced coffee was the good decision then.
Financially, yeah.
Financially,
sugars-wise,
well, that's
not a very sensible decision.
No, that's what a Tesco's meal deal is all about, right? It's about trying
as much sugar for your buck.
Well, I think you're just trying to get the maximum expensive items. Isn't that what everyone does? I know it isn't what everyone does, but I certainly sandwiches. I don't like the really expensive sandwiches because I have the sort of palate of a child. But you're looking at trying to get the most expensive sandwich or salad or whatever else main they might have. You're looking at the prices of your snack. You might see a Lindt bar which costs like £1.50. That's in the meal deal. You might see a Yorkie raisin and biscuit bar. I think they're about £1.50. So both good contenders for very high value items. And then in terms of drinks, you're probably looking at smoothies as being the most expensive. But I mean,
if we're going to talk about the drink that offers the most value in terms of the engineering, history,
here we go,
ingredients that's gone in.
Yeah.
Beer represents the best value there, even if it's low alcohol.
Agreed, Johnny. Agreed. And the iced coffee has very little to do with coffee. The iced coffees you can buy in there. They do have that Jimmy's one, which I always think is quite nice. But not always. Sometimes it's the protein one. I don't want the protein one, Johnny. I'm not a bodybuilder. I just want,
Well, you still need protein, Bradley. Protein isn't just for bodybuilders. It's also a pretty fundamental thing for humans just to have.
Do you think, Johnny, that we'll ever reach a day when you will get an actual alcoholic beer as part of a Tesco meal deal?
No, we're very much going the other way.
Yeah,
I think
other meal deals are available, obviously Sainsbury's and elsewhere. But
do they have low alcohol beer in them? That's the question.
I don't think
if
so.
They don't, then they don't exist as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm now, I think it's a brilliant idea. I would love to have a low alcohol beer with my with my sandwich. And you seem to talk about price. I'm just trying to find the crisps because for some reason, and I know I'm getting dangerously close to 90s observational comedy here, they never seem to put the crisps where you'd expect.
No, they're very low down on a shelf.
Yeah,
like
they're either really low down, or like round the corner at the end of the aisle, or just trying to make it really difficult to get your potato-based starch.
Exactly. They won't be anywhere near the meal deal, for sure. They're not near the meal deals. Why do you think that is? Do you think there's a crisp monopoly that are holding strong against the might of the supermarkets, so that maybe the margins on crisps are not as high as on a Yorkie bar, for instance? So,
I bet the margins are great on crisps because they only half fill the pack these days, don't they?
They do. It's getting very observational comedy, isn't it? Yeah, so I thought that was really good. I think in the summertime, Johnny, I probably will get a Lucky Saint with my depressing Tesco sandwich meal deal.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, though, firstly, I have to say that at the start of this podcast, you said you nearly did something beery, which I did not expect to consist of not having a low-alcohol beer.
Yeah.
I am amazed that there is a market for that, because I would have assumed that the UK, if this was in Germany, it would make complete sense to me.
Yeah.
But in a market where I don't think there's much demand for low-alcohol beverages outside of like dinner times at home and designated drivers.
Yeah.
I'm amazed they've gone for that. It may well be a trial, and they're trying to see if people might make that switch.
Yeah. This is in.
I also think that people would still feel weird as a result of that. Going back to your desk in your office with a low alcohol beer.
Cracking a tinny. It's somehow
idiots
there's
would
stigma,
give you a look,
right?
even if you're in the right.
There's stigma still, even though there's no alcohol, very low alcohol in it. There's more alcohol in eating a banana potentially that you can also get as a snack, as part of a meal deal. But you get way more stigma for cracking a tinny at your desk, even though it's low alcohol. But something about that, isn't there, Johnny? We should try. We'll see how many meal deals we can eat each, and I'll eat bananas. No, I'll drink Lucky Saint, and you can eat bananas. We'll see who gets drunker. Neither of us, because we're going to be eating too much food. But
and you can't get drunk off of lower than what is it? It's like I think it's like 2.5%. It's almost impossible to get inebriated because your body will metabolize it faster than it.
There was always when I was growing up, there was always an urban legend about banana skins, smoking banana skins and getting high. I don't even know if that's a thing, but that was a thing. I don't think my friends ever tried that. They certainly smoked other things, but I'm
almost certain that's not a thing, and it probably came from a similarly trustworthy news sources as our news source for our next piece of news.
Yeah, it's good link.
Which I never thought I would learn something about brewing from the Daily Express.
I know, right?
Essentially now just toilet roll that will tell you something about Diana. It's basically what the Express is, and be racist somehow in the telling of it. But you sent me this. I did dig around and found the actual study and some news articles from some more reputable, more scientific-based publications. But let's give the Express the credit that it's due. And Holly Kintucker, the reporter, who seems to have found a study that says that we should be putting peas in our sour beer.
We should, Johnny, because they've got these specific sugars in them that yeasts are unable to break down. So they help with the other bacteria, from what I can understand, in creating a lactic environment that brings out all the amazing flavour profiles that we love from Belgian sour beers. So we can all lactic acid brewing bacteria is what they call them technically, but they've got many names, haven't they, or the individual ones? But
lots of different bacteria that do that. Yeah,
I thought it was quite good, and they said, which is also quite good, Johnny. They don't have a pea flavour to. They don't add a horrible pea flavour to the beer, because who wants?
Yeah, that's the baseline need, isn't it? In a study, you can't make the beer taste of peas.
No, hell no.
that would be upsetting.
Mushy pea beer. Nobody wants that.
Although brewers have made worse things than beer that would taste of peas.
Yeah. Because you do get some beers that have got off flavors that are like a bit like beans, right? What's that?
Baked bean is a fairly common off flavor, malt derived one. I think that smells disgusting. I get it in quite a few Czech beers, something to do with the decoction process or something can churn out whatever this chemical is. I forget. But so this is a genuine study. As I say, a genuine study, I do realise that it's come from Bjørge Vestereng of the Norwegian University of Life. Oh, of Life Science. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that makes. I just read that line as the University of Life.
Yeah,
but no, it's Life Science.
I'm from the University of Life, mate. That's where I got my degree from, on the mean streets of Norway. Yeah. Good stuff.
Sorry, genuine university, genuine study.
Yeah.
By Bjørge Vestereng, who is one of the co-authors. So it's this idea that you can add this pea sugar that can't be consumed by yeast, a bit like lactose, and therefore it will increase the speed at which you can produce sour beer.
Yeah.
Because essentially the bacteria that get in will have an immediate sugar source to chow down on. They won't have to wait for the yeast to sort of dominate it. I have a couple of issues with this. I mean, obviously it's a scientific study. I believe that it has sped up the beer. But I will say that the lactic acid producing bacteria is not really the thing that takes a long time. So they seem to have made this quite significant jump between it producing reliable, fairly quick sour beer to saying basically that it's going to change the world of lambic. But that's just not true, because it's not the lactic producing bacteria that takes a long time, it's the Brett.
Mm-hmm.
And the Brett will take as long as it takes because it is a slow acting yeast. It likes long chain sugars, potentially like these pea sugars, but it's not going to act any quicker just because it's pea sugars. So it feels like they've potentially solved a problem that doesn't exist, because sour beer is pretty quick to make.
Johnny.
We also now have yeasts that just make lactic acid bacteria themselves, so we don't necessarily need these bacteria, depending on the flavour profile you're going for. And I also, I don't know, I initially thought, well, shit, we could start making vegan, like it's a vegan alternative to lactose, but then, of course, it would only be that for sour, well... What would it taste like if you didn't ferment it out with the lactic acid bacteria? Would it then taste pea? Because then we haven't found a vegan lactose.
All I'm saying, Johnny, is you're being quite negative, but can you please just give peas a chance? Just give peas a chance, Johnny.
It's strong.
Just give peas a chance.
It's pretty strong.
Yeah, they're called Raffinose family oligosaccharides, RFOs. These
sounds tasty.
These sugars. They do sound tasty.
Sounds real tasty.
I guess peas they do have a sweetness to them, don't they? Peas, but they're also a little bit pea flavored. So, I get, when I'm eating a pea, I like a pea, but I don't think I want to be drinking a pea. But
I like pea soup. Pea and ham soup is delicious.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty good, I suppose. But would you like to drink a pea and ham soup flavoured beer? That sounds like something the guys that make Aunt Bessie flavoured beer and stuff would be well all over.
Northern Monk, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, one of our sponsors, obviously. But yeah, I'm unsure about the pea thing. And now you've pointed out that it doesn't work necessarily. Well, they haven't said specifically Brett. Then it's like, we can make quick sours and stuff already, can't we? So what is this actually bringing to the table? I'm a little bit unclear.
Yeah, I mean, I may have missed something. So it says here that all 4 beers were fermented for 19 days. Mm-hmm. That, to me, is a long old time to make a sour beer. I personally have churned out a sour beer in 5 or 6 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm a little bit baffled by what this is all about. Perhaps somebody in our Patreon forum can point out what I'm missing, because we're not getting the information we need from the Express article, I'm afraid.
Who would have thought it?
I know, exactly. I can't believe that the Express has let us down on the technicalities of brewing traditional Belgian sours, but it's happened, and we've just got to adjust and live on.
I think the other thing is another key point is what they're saying about brewing sour beers in a Belgian way, not like a quick sour or anything like that. This quote says, sometimes multiple mashing vessels are required to extract sugar from grains for sour beer, making the process even more complicated and long. The scientists therefore focused on the mashing process, reducing the steps part of it. So are they saying that the P thing makes it easier to extract these sugars that can't be eaten by the yeast?
Yeah, I mean that I guess is a valid point in that because you do what's called a turbid mash when producing lambic. So you essentially make sure there's loads of really long chain sugars that normal yeast won't be able to eat, but the Brett and the bacteria will go for. And you do that by step mashing, almost kind of decoction steps as well. And it takes like 3 or 4 hours to do. So if you could just use pea sugars for that, potentially, and there's no flavour impact, potentially, that does simplify the mashing. But again, it's not going to speed up the Brett.
They're
or
also...
I guess it might allow the Brett to immediately get to... I don't think it will in the presence of other... Something's missing. Something's missing from the information or from their study, but I'm not sure it helps anyone.
They're claiming that after the testing, they found that not only was the brewing time quicker, but the beers also tasted better. They had more lactic acid, more ethanol, and more flavour in comparison to the ones brewed without them. So is that just? Do we think?
I'm interested in that as well. Maybe the beers are just better.
Is that just because it might have made things like Brett sort of spark up a bit sooner, and that is why there are more flavours, more complicated flavours potentially?
I doubt you'd get any Brett activity in 19 days. I think they will be Brett free.
Yeah.
So I think they're just saying that the flavour was cleaner, quicker, higher alcohol. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd want to have been involved in that study to fully comprehend the impact of it. The last thing in that article is a quote from the authors that says the results of this study indicate that P-derived RFOs can be exploited in unconventional ways to generate products, and this is the bit that I don't like, with acceptable sensory properties.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not even really going for acceptable is not what I look for in my beers generally.
And that's the thing about a lot of Belgian beers. They're not about making acceptable beers, right, fast. They're about making exceptional beers slowly. So
I mean, if lambic producers were looking to make quicker beer, there's a million things they could do before they even think about pea sugar.
I've never heard a lambic producer go, that's an acceptable beer. It's done, lads. Take it out of the cask.
It's acceptable.
just bottle it now. We're done with it. So send it off. No, it's not what they're about, really. But yeah, peas, man. Give the peas a chance.
I will give them a chance, but I'm still at a slight loss. A bit of really good beer news, people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the peas are good news to some extent, but this is better news. So you'll know we've talked quite a lot about Carlsberg essentially committing corporate violence against the brewing industry and British brewing heritage. Well, thankfully, they announced that they were going to be closing JONNY'S brewery in Cockermouth, which is it's the beer that you're most likely to see if you're ever lucky enough to go for a holiday in the Lake District. And they have rather than just closing it, shuttering it, and I don't know what you do with a Grade 2 listed brewery once it's no longer brewing, turn it into flats. But thankfully, some local business people have bought it.
Nice.
And fully intend to bring brewing and the original brands back to Jennings, which is very, very exciting. So cool. It's an interesting team. It's like it's the CEO. It's Carl Canfield and Rebecca Canfield, who are, I think, the owners of an engineering business called Delkia. I don't know what Delkia do, but engineering of some description. They've bought it, and they've brought in a guy called Chris France, who was the founder of Beerhawk, which is the AB InBev owned beer shop.
Yeah.
Wait, Heineken owned. Oh, somebody corporate. So I guess he founded that, and it was bought out, or he founded it for them. I'm not quite sure of the history of that website, but a big beer retailer, and they've brought in him because he's a local, and he's going to be running it. Which means, so you've got an engineering background, you've got a beer wholesale background, and then you've got a historic brewery. I'm feeling pretty good, about it.
That does seem like it's in sensible hands, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For once, people that are from the area that care about it, that are intelligent people that have got a successful business already,
and will understand the challenges, not sort of buy a brewery thinking it's a way to license money, print money, which people used to think that brewing was. I think they'll understand the challenges of a heritage brand, of a listed building, and of a cask ale market in a very touristy, so therefore up and down kind of market. So it's actually, at the end of the day, it's probably more positive for British cask ale than Jennings being in the hands of Carlsberg. I think this is a genuinely good news story.
Yeah, 100%. And good luck to Rebecca, and Chris, the new owners.
Wait, Rebecca. Was it Rebecca? No, it was Rebecca and a guy. They were. I can't remember.
Oh, I'm looking.
It should be in front of me. Carl,
Yeah.
Rebecca, Carl.
Oh, that's interesting.
And Chris. Have you got two Rebeccas involved?
Yeah. I've got a photo of. It looks like Rebecca Senior and Junior, maybe, but Rebecca Jobson.
Oh my God.
Chris France and Rebecca Canfield. This is in the Morning Advertiser. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And I can see that photo too. Well, is it specialist engineering business Delkia CEO Carl Canfield and wine and spirits firm Wine and Wynwood. Why? Oh, so it's also a spirits and wine wholesaler, but that's Rebecca Canfield. So they're presumably family members or husband and wife.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where Rebecca Robson comes in, but
no,
the more the merrier, I guess.
Do you think they might do an Adnams and have, like, if they're already making wine and spirits, bring that to a historic site? Like Adnams have got that amazing distillery that we've been to. I wouldn't
have thought so. If they're producing stuff,
yeah,
I think they're a wine importer, not a producer.
Wine importer. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think we should confuse the story by adding wine production in a place like Cockermouth.
No.
Not many grapes being grown.
Not sure what the terroir is like up there. It's a bit nippy, isn't it? A bit windy. So,
yeah. Not a lot of sunshine for those vines. Yeah.
No.
I've got more good news for you. Well, good news depending on who you are in the story, I guess.
Yeah.
So we've got another Rebecca actually, or Becky Webster.
Yeah.
So she owns a pub they're called the Gedling Inn in Nottinghamshire.
Yeah.
And she decided 45 minutes before kickoff, decided to do a promotion during the Nottingham Forest versus Brighton Albion game, where she said it's a free pint for everybody in this pub every time Nottingham Forest score.
Yeah.
Now,
what could
neither
go wrong,
of these
Johnny?
sides, Nottingham Forest or Brighton, you might presume are very good sides, but they are both exceptional sides in the top half of the Premier League. And Nottingham Forest in particular, with a guy called an attacker called Wood, who's on fire. No, wait, it's a weird mixed metaphor. The Woods, not literally. They went and knocked in against this other very good side, Brighton, 7 goals.
Jesus. 7 goals. So that poor landlord had to pay out everyone in the pub 7 pints. So not only was she dealing with a massive shortfall on her takings, but trolleyed people potentially that were
that was my
best time.
second response to it. It was like, firstly, so she gave away nearly 300 pints.
Wow.
So presumably there were about 40 people in her pub at the time.
Wow.
To the cost of about £1,500.
Okay, yeah, not insignificant.
And at half-time, her husband said maybe we should, because it was 3-0 at half-time, I think. He was a bit like, we should probably shut this down. But she quite rightly was like, no, we made this promise. We're going to go through with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And to be fair to them, they've made international news. We are way behind on this story. This is not... Most of the people listening have probably heard this story of Becky Webster's woes. But I think it's positive for her. I think it's incredible press. It's obviously incredible for Nottingham Forest. I mean, there is, like you say, some concern around the idea. There's a great photo in the BBC News article. I don't know if you've seen it. There's two lads and a lady. They've got some wings and some chips, and then just in front of them are just endless pints.
Bloody hell! Yeah.
And one of them looks, he looks like he's got 4 in front of him. I think he's had the other 3 already.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, look, 1,500 quid is kind of small potatoes in terms of the publicity this is generated for them. So it's kind of genius. Maybe she knew somehow that it was gonna be a huge victory. 7? Is it 7-0? It was 7-0.
7-0. Yeah.
That is bonkers. Very bonkers, considering, Johnny, that we're actually going to see Brighton, aren't we? Very soon.
Yes, we are. Well, tomorrow, by the time this goes out.
Yeah, you told me they were a great football team.
They are a great football team.
7-0 to another football team I've barely heard of. Bearing in mind, I don't know anything about football. That's going to upset some people, isn't it?
Let's not make any conclusions based off of Brad's knowledge of football.
No.
But yes, so tomorrow, so we're recording this on a Thursday, yesterday to you, because tomorrow we are filming down at Harvey's Brewery in Lewes, and we're filming something, we're desperately trying to wrap up the last sort of shoots for Keep Cask Alive, which we'll be talking about in a sec because it starts next week. And as there's an episode in which we're going to be talking about the cool, unique, and unusual ways that cask ale is sort of reinventing itself and coming across as cool and modern, which it very much needs to. And one of the things we're going to be talking about is the fact that Brighton Albion Football Club, the Amex Stadium, serves Harvey's cask ale.
That is pretty
in great
amazing.
Quantities.
Yeah, that is cool, isn't it?
So they have their own lounge and bar, and it's very, very cool that a Premier League stadium, sponsored by American Express, no less, with a big deal to Heineken as well, that there is a place for a little 150-year-old cask ale brewery
from down the road
made in that stadium, which is very, very cool. So we are going to be filming at Harvey's and then going to the Brighton game and filming Brad's first ever football match.
Yeah, never been to a football match or any sports match for that matter. Never
Any sports match at all?
No. Never been to a sports match.
This is wild.
No. I think we talked about it before. So my friends from school used to go and watch the cricket because you could get, drunk at the cricket. But
you get drunk at the football, just not in the stadiums.
Yeah, well, you could drink. You could. I think they had cask bars. Well, they definitely did had cask.
Oh, they were. Green King are a big sponsor of most of the cricket matches.
This was like. Well, I'm 42 now. This was when we were at 8. Well, let's say 18, Johnny. We were maybe younger than 18. 17. So this is like 22, 23 years ago. And that would be something they, when cricket season came around, they'd totter off to watch some cricket.
Yeah, great way to spend a day.
Yeah. Not for.
I had my 18th birthday. I went to a game at Twickenham, and I don't really remember it. I went. This is weird. I went with. It was organised by my school, but they were giving us alcohol. Well, it was organised by our tutor.
Wow.
It wasn't I don't think it was specifically school sanctioned, but he got us all absolutely off our faces at the rugby.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Drink responsibly-ish.
And that was my 18th birthday.
Blimey. Yeah,
I haven't looked back on that in a long time and realised that that's not something that you could do today, I wouldn't have thought. Couldn't take your pupils on a Saturday to Twickenham and get them very drunk on the. I was drunk on the train on the way, let alone at the game itself. Anyway, tomorrow we are going to Lewes. We are filming at Brighton on the Saturday, and we'll be filming sort of the crowds arriving, people enjoying cask ale, going to a Premier League football match. They're playing Chelsea, which is a tall order for a club like Brighton, but you never know. Hopefully it won't be 7-0, or hopefully it will, but the other way around.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday, we're off to Birmingham.
Yeah, man. We're going up to Birmingham. We're going to go and speak to some actual genuine sort of experts and stuff, aren't we? And we're going to hopefully visit a very exciting brewery that we've not been to before, if we can go there, just outside of Birmingham.
Well, yeah, it's pretty unlikely we'll get to the brewery, but hopefully we'll get to one of the pubs where we want to film some bits. But we are meeting the camera chairman, Ash, to talk about our campaign to get CASK UNESCO recognition. We're going to be talking to him about how Camera runs its campaigns, any tips they might have. Obviously, Camera are a sponsor of Keep CASK Alive this time around, so they very much back the campaign, but we're going to try and get some advice, put that on camera. And that'll tell one of the episodes of Keep CASK Alive is all about that campaign itself. So what we've been up to since, what we're going to be up to soon, and explaining how people can really get involved and help us achieve that goal. And we're telling you this, A, because we're going on Tuesday, but B, because the trailer comes out for the public on Wednesday, but for our Patreons on Tuesday morning.
Nice.
So as of Tuesday morning, our Patreons will know exactly what we've been up to while we've not been uploading on the channel, for which we humbly apologise. But honestly, when you see, it's 7 episodes, all at least half an hour in length. So it's easily the most ambitious thing we've ever done.
Yeah, and it's grown as well as we've gone along, hasn't it? It wasn't always going to be 7 episodes, so it's kind of
No, it's going to be 5 originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, so it's got a bit out of hand. But we've been to, the first episode, which we've just sort of literally an hour before recording this, we finished the first version, and that involves trips to Timothy Taylor's Kirkstall and Thornbridge.
Ace. Yeah, it's pretty
And then
good.
in the next episode, there's another three more incredible breweries in that. So we have visited all kinds of places. We're telling all kinds of stories. We're stitching it all together as a narrative that fits into this broader UNESCO campaign and the points that we need to make to UNESCO and the research that we need to do to prove to UNESCO the impact that CASK has on British culture. So it's a lot. is how I've been describing it to my friends when they ask how it's going. I just say it's a lot.
It is a lot,
but
Johnny.
Hopefully the trailer gets the ambition across, and you'll see why it's taken so long, but also why I was excited about it. I remember at Christmas being like, I'm looking forward to getting back and getting stuck into the edits. But now I'm too close to it. I don't know whether we've just created a monster for no reason.
No, they're great. From the process of watching the edits and refining it down, done a bloody amazing job on the first episode. It's really exciting to see it come alive, and I think everyone at home is going to strap in, because you're in for a long ride. But my God, we go all around the country, Johnny. We talk to some amazing people. We're recording social history, mate, and we're trying to get this bloody amazing thing that's unique to our part of the world where we live. We're trying to get it recognised on a world stage eventually, but on a governmental stage would be amazing to sort of get recognition for how unique and special this culture is, and how key it is to the kind of society in Britain and our kind of general well-being. I would say we should all be drinking this stuff sensibly, obviously, but I think it's
not in the Nottingham Forest 7 pints kind of way.
No. But I tell you what,
in the Brighton nil kind of way.
If Becky Webster does want to do a pub event again, we could go there, couldn't we? And get involved somehow. Maybe she do. Has she got any cast lines? She has. I can see a cast.
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
she's got a hot Castle Rock.
Theakston beer and a Castle Rock, 2 decent breweries, decent beers.
Yeah, so it looks like
Harvest Pale. That might even be a green hop beer. I don't know Castle Rock's beers very well.
Yeah, very, very exciting stuff, Johnny. And everyone's gonna see what it's all about in a week or so.
Yeah, it's coming, and we couldn't be more excited. There's going to be crowd participation for this one, my friend. So we are starting a petition.
Yeah.
Which I set up this week. It's already got 19 signatures, Bradley.
And that's without any sort of publicity or anything, other than us going to our friends and going, please, can you sign this thing?
We needed 5 people so that the government, so that somebody in the government will look at it and go, this is a legitimate campaign. And after that, hopefully we'll get approval. But 19 people signed it. They're all chomping at the bit.
My mum I asked my mum to sign it, and she was really like, "What am I signing?" I can't see it on the link.
You were like that. I sent it to you, going, do me a favour, quickly sign this. And you were like, I can't see what it is.
Well, like mother, like
what
son.
do you think I'd get you to sign?
Well, you got to ask, haven't you, Johnny? I was more saying it because I wasn't sure when we were launching it, and the link you sent, I didn't understand at that point that it wasn't like a public-facing link. It's almost like getting it co-signed or something by your sort of, people that you trust, isn't it? Like maybe a legal document that you have to get it, a notary signature sort of thing, right? To sort of
I'd imagine the reason you've got to do that is because probably thousands of these surveys are set up drunken or in anger, with no real intent of doing anything with it. So if you don't have the sort of the wherewithal and the commitment to email 5 people and go, hey, could you sign this for me? Then they don't have to worry about it.
True.
I guess is the thing. And it's just a little way of narrowing it from probably thousands of petitions every day to, I don't know, 100 or so. Because I'm sure there's loads being made. And, if I was a little bit worse for wear and angry and decided to make a petition, I think I'd email 5 friends and tell them to sign this.
I'm making loads all the time, Johnny. I'm keeping them busy. Just on a daily basis. Yeah.
Can you stop that, actually? Because I got an email from them saying it might take longer than the 10 working days it usually does because of the number of petitions being started. Is that you, or is that just people disliking Keir Starmer?
No, it's solely me. I just get really angry with everything all the time.
Wow, brilliant.
I'm like, we need to put peas in our beer. That's my latest one. I've been working on that today.
I'd have thought you'd have been anti-pea.
Well, I've said I think we need to.
Have you set up one for both? One saying more peas, one saying
exactly.
Yeah.
It's called Give Peas a Chance, and the other one says peas is for hippies. Hippies go home or something like that. No, that sounds bad. But yeah, I was trying to work
retract
hippies into the mix because it's peas in the word. But high peas, no, please, peas, no. No more peas. Appease.
Yeah, no more comma peas.
No more comma peas. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just on there all the time. I'm ranting. No, I'm not really, Johnny. Life is full of craziness at the moment. If you actually watch the news, I try not to watch the news that much because the world's gone mad, Johnny. But that's why we delve so deeply into the beer news, because it's a safe crevice of the underbelly of the news, I think, where they're all like puff pieces. Apart from obviously on a bloody weekly basis, there are pubs and historic breweries closing all the frigging time. We get some levity and lightness in our beer news, I think. We have had another brewery closed, haven't we? Which is quite sad.
By the Horns.
By the Horns has gone.
Yeah, I never understood how one of those breweries when you hear about a celebrity dies and you go, were they not already dead?
Yeah, I can remember
drinking.
Felt
that way about By the Horns.
By the Horns many years ago, at a beer festival in Crystal Palace, and thinking it was pretty good. And they are, I think, vaguely South London, maybe Southwest or something. I think they're from.
Yeah, but I think they were mostly sort of a supermarket brand. I think they did a lot of white label beer and a lot of supermarket contracts rather than I never saw a beer out in the wild outside of the supermarket.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
In a decade, probably.
Yeah, well, this was at least a decade ago when I was drinking it at a beer festival, but that was kind of the last time I knowingly drank any, I suppose, which is bad. But,
yeah, I mean, it's possible they've even been on the channel right at the start because they were very early adopters. They would have been, when we started the craft beer channel, there were only about 25, 30 breweries in London.
Yeah,
and I think they were one of them. So, in terms of craft beer heritage, something has been lost. One of the original London upstarts, but I don't think they did anything culturally significant really for a long time. I might be being very rude and uneducated, but it was a brewery that slipped under the radar completely for me.
Yeah, they said that, part of the reason why they went was because two companies they work with closely crashed, Flavorly and Beer Nuts, who owed them 50K. So that is
Beer
just
Nuts, yes.
Beer Nuts. This is the knock-on thing, isn't it? Oftentimes, other partners in the industry might take you down, or might be part of the reason why people get taken
and Beer
down.
Nuts are. If you're a brewery out there, do not touch Beer Nuts with a barge pole.
Yeah.
They are bad fucking news, and they will take your beer and they will never pay you.
Wow. I don't know about Beer Nuts, so
it's a well-known issue. I mean, they owe money to hundreds of UK breweries.
Oh wow. Okay.
And do not pay. So that's a real shame. If that's that's what's taken them down, then that's really unfortunate. So yeah. So I mean, there is brevity. There's rarely brevity on this podcast. Levity in the beer news. And hopefully this podcast is a little ray of sunshine in your weekends. But every now and then, somebody like Beer Nuts comes and fucks it up for all of us. But we will be doing our best to protect Cask Ale over the next couple of weeks. So it's 7 episodes, 7 weeks. The trailer comes out next week, and then the episodes start on the 19th. There's also going to be, they haven't been finalised yet, but myriad watch events. Some are for trade, some are for the public. I might be jumping the gun, but I might not be. It should be happening that we might be, or I certainly will be, at the Tetley on the 19th of February to launch that particular video. That's the first video. And beyond that, we've got some dates in the offing, but nothing confirmed yet. And that date is not confirmed yet. So we'll announce that on social when it is. But there will be events all around it, and hopefully some kind of event at the end in which we're going to invite as many press as we can, as many industry people as we can, and really give that petition a kick up the arse to get. Well, we're hoping for a debate in the Commons. I've been working with some contacts to try and get a question in the Commons as well. So we're trying to get things moving, but we are a lobbying team of me, and we don't know whether that'll happen or not. So any support you guys can throw us, starting by signing the petition as soon as it goes live, would be much appreciated. But next Wednesday there is an upload. Woohoo!
I guess in that scenario, Johnny, it would be good to say if anyone listening out there is a lobbying expert or a lobbyist and wants to get involved and help us with our campaign, please get in contact, because it's difficult, isn't it, to get the wheels turning. So if we can, grease your wheels a bit with the promise of some free bar nuts or something.
Some beer nuts, yeah.
Well, I was thinking I quite like the name bar nuts or pub nuts for something where we go around and look at bars or pubs and we're nuts for them, Johnny.
Right? Know? Okay, yeah.
We're the bar nuts.
I mean, I've heard of worse Instagram account names.
The bar nuts. Yeah, that's me and you. We're absolutely nuts for these pubs. But anyway, don't steal that if you're listening and you think it's a great idea. Especially if you're a lobbyist.
I mean, there's only a couple of thousand listeners to this podcast that might do that, so this is probably the best place to raise that idea. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I'm seeing you in a few hours' time, Johnny, in Lewis.
Yeah, you are.
Lovely Lewis.
As soon as I finish editing this, I'm going to be packing and getting on a train to meet you in Lewis. So,
are you eating before you go? Will you be picking up a Tesco meal deal?
I'm not sure this is. Oh well, I do have a Tesco by my station. Thinking about it, maybe I will.
Maybe you treat yourself to a Lucky Saint, and you can.
No, let's be real, Bradley. I'm going to get a real beer for the train if I'm getting a beer at all.
Yeah, train beers. That's another. Yeah. That is another project. Anyway, we won't go into that, but train beers, another one.
Yeah, another one Brad's been banging the drum for.
Pub nuts and train beers.
I'll tell you what, there will be a craft beer channel campaign if they ever banned drinking on trains in the UK.
Oh dear, yes, 100%.
We'd be getting a petition, a drunken petition with at least 5 signatures instantly.
Well, we go on any train carriage, pissed up, Johnny, on a Friday night after work.
Responsibly.
Just shouting, "Oh, they're trying to ban our right to drink beer on this fucking carriage. Sign this petition." We'd have to hold up a QR code, I think, on our phones drunkenly because everyone would be too mashed on the vomit comet home, trying to not spew, and their heads deep in the Greg's boiling hot steak bake or whatever they're consuming ravenously as they speed into their satellite towns, keeping the home fires burning. Yeah, go on.
Bradley. Joking aside, you've just given me the most powerful idea of how to spread this petition.
Yeah.
QR codes on the bar of good Cask Ale pubs.
I love it. Yeah, we should do it.
We should
print some stickers up. Yeah.
Beer mats.
Beer mats are more expensive than stickers, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but get Cask Ale UNESCO recognition, sign the petition.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, there's the QR code.
Yes, I like it.
Right, Bradley, if you could look up, get some quotes for bar mats. I'm going to email all of our sponsors and say, hey, can you put these in all your pubs? And suddenly I've just made things incredibly busy for us at a time when I'm trying to finish Keep Cask Alive, the video series. So that's fine. Right, that's all we've got time for this week. I have a train to catch, as we've established, and a beer to buy as well, because we still live in a free country, man.
Yeah, freedom.
So, yeah. Bradley, I'll see you in a couple of hours, and everybody else will see you on Wednesday for the trailer of Keep Cask Alive 2. Love and Beer. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the craft beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and Beer.